Hello guys, thanks for joining me. I thought I'd do a quick video today on a little model that I bought recently, and as you can see it's a tracked cargo carrier. It's the M548 track carrier for the ammunition for the M109 field howitzers. So it's an ammunition support vehicle, and this was my very favorite military vehicle when I was growing up. I was a army brat. My father was a army mechanic, and with all the tanks and everything that were in the background I was growing up, this was my very favorite armored personnel carrier. It's not actually armored, it's non-armored, but it's a tracked as a cargo carrier. It's based on the M113 armored personnel carrier. So as I said, it's a ammo support vehicle, and it would have in real life carried 12,000 pounds of cargo. This one is, as I say, an ammunition carrier. It has the hoist in the back, which carried a load of 1,500 pounds. So we're talking about artillery shells for the M109 155mm artillery pieces. As you can see, it has a 50 cal machine gun on the top, and that's the front here. The driver would have sat on the left side, and it would have had space for 3 passengers on the front. It's quite a big vehicle. And this one actually opens up in the back here. As I say, the company that made this particular vehicle is ROCO, and it's an Austrian company that were quite busy from the 1960s through up until the 1990s. I don't think they're in business anymore, but they made a huge variety of model tanks, trucks, helicopters, figures, and everything else. I've got the box here that it came in. I'll do a second separate photograph of the actual box here. So anyhow, that's the model here. As you can see, it has the canvas back on it. Quite a nice little detailed model. Quite a small model. As I say, it's 1/87th scale. It's a fully amphibious vehicle. As I said, it would have had a driver and 3 passengers in the front. It would have had a crew of maybe 6 in the back here, and they would have hauled out the ammunition. As I say, it would have carried 155mm artillery shells. It was made by I think by FMC, and they used a Detroit diesel model 6-cylinder engine in the real vehicles. They would have gone about 40 miles per hour, had about a 300-mile range, and there were about 3,600 of these made for the U.S. military. So that's about it for nostalgic reasons. I'm not going to paint it, I don't think. I'll just leave it in the unpainted state as it is. It's a little bit fiddly for painting. So, as I say, that was my favorite armored vehicle when I was a kid growing up. They were quite a sight to see when they were pulling out of base, heading up to the maneuver areas. And it would have been in a camouflage pattern back in the 1970s. The original back in the early 70s, it would have been a green color like that one there. By the mid-70s, they adapted the so-called Masters camouflage pattern, and that is what I mostly remember these being painted in. I think they lasted up until the early to mid 1980s before they were pulled out of service. So anyhow, just a quick look at my ROCO ammunition trailer or transporter, the M548. So that's the box that the model came in. So as I say, it's ROCO miniature tanks. It has a little trailer, but unfortunately the hook's broken off my vehicle. And as it says, they're made in Austria. I think it was made in Salzburg. And as I say, very popular collector's item back in the 60s through to the 1990s and early 2000s. I've got a photograph of the real thing here, and that's a M548 in Germany. It has the Masters camouflage pattern, and this one is part of the 11th Armored Cavalry, 7th Army, 11th Cavalry there on the stenciled in the front there. And that is how I remember them mostly. And as you can see, there's a M109 155mm field howitzer, so these provided the ammunition for the howitzers. So that's just a plan there, and that's the camouflage pattern in color. And as you can see, it was kind of based, it wasn't a copy, but it was based on the German World War II camouflage pattern. So you have that kind of tan background with the brown, black, and green. And that would have been the colorations of most of the military vehicles in Germany in the 1970s when I was there. So having said that, when we first moved there, they were still all olive green. In fact, I got a photograph of me sitting in one of these, which I'll add to the back of the video. And you can see me sitting in the cockpit with my younger brother and my mother. So anyhow, I'll leave it at that. So as I say, that's just a quick look at my little M548 ROCO model. Anyhow, as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.